A very good evening to everyone present here. I, Anas, would like to warmly welcome you all to this knowledge session on sleep, the foundation of success. In today's fast paced world, good sleep is often underestimated, yet, it is one of the most powerful tools for achieving success and leading a healthy, balanced life. Quality sleep is the fuel for creativity, productivity, and emotional well being. Good sleep is not a luxury but a necessity. It is truly the foundation of long term personal and professional success. About SEMS Welfare Foundation, SEMS Welfare Foundation is a registered non profit organization. It dedicated to driving social changes through education, skill development, and entrepreneurship. Through our initiative, Digi Saksham, we have empowered over 6,000 individuals in IT, finance, retail, and entrepreneurship. We are also upskilling inmates in Haryana jail and have partnered with banks to place over 1,500 candidates in meaningful jobs. SEMS continue to create pathway to employment and foster women's leadership in diverse industries. DigiSamak. DigiSamak is a future-forward company focused on empowering business through technology and data. From IT and software to analytic research, consultancy, and marketing, DigiSamak delivers comprehensive business solution tailored to modern challenges. About our speaker, let's now meet our inspiring speaker, Mr. Manohar Grandhi. Mr. Manohar is from Hyderabad, India, and have been working in a software industry for last 15 years. In 2019, he personally struggled with severe insomnia, leading to consultation, anxiety medication, and restless night. Through consistent practice of meditation, he eventually overcome anxiety and sleeplessness, transforming his life entirely. He has also documented his journey in his book, My Sleepless Night, along with two other books available on Amazon. Today, Mr. Manohar dedicates his time and helping others make the transition from anxious sleepless life to peaceful sleep. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Anas, for introducing, and I would like to thank SEMS Foundation for again inviting me, and also all the people who have registered and are in the meeting room. Thank you, and yeah. So Anas already introduced me. So, but I'd like to just quickly introduce myself. Okay. So, yeah, as Anas told, I'm working in the software industry since the last, this is the old slide, since the last 17 years. So, I have been in the software industry since 2008. And like in 2019, I faced insomnia and I was on anti-anxiety pills, but I have overcome insomnia and I even published my book. So, I have given a presentation last year. So, what's the difference, if you ask me today? This you have invited me again, and I'm really grateful for giving me another opportunity. So the other change that has happened over the last year is I have been invited on TED platforms, and I have given a presentation on TED also. So I like to just start with a quick story. Okay, so I'm hoping that all of you will like stories. So just starting with a quick story. So once upon a time, there was a learned professor. He was like very learned. Basically, he was from a very reputed college kind of a thing, and he was very learned. So because he's a professor, right? So you expect him to have all the degrees and all those things, and he's teaching this stuff to his kids, I mean the college, right? So there was one time he comes to wants to do a research, and the research is on mindfulness and meditation, right? So he, as a part of his research, he has to meet a monk. So monk in a mm, in a village where in his ashram, right? So the learned professor, like, because he wants to impress the monk, what he does is he reads a lot of stuff from the books and all those things, and then he goes to the monk and he meets him, and then he starts talking about my meditation, mindfulness, all that. While he keeps talking just to impress, right? He keeps talking, and then the monk notices that the professor, after talking, has stopped. So the monk says, "Would you like to have some tea?" The professor says, "Why not? Yes, why not? Why should I? We should have some tea because I have been talking a lot and like." It's non-stop. So let's take a break and have some tea. So the monk takes a cup and starts pouring in the cup, right? He keeps pouring, 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 pouring until even when the cup is full, right? He keeps pouring. And then the tea starts overflowing. The professor is like surprised. What are you doing? Why are you keeping on pouring even when the cup is full? Right? He asks the monk. Then the monk says, "This is exactly what happens when you come with an full cup. You need to empty your cup. Only when you empty your cup, you will be able to learn." So I'm hoping that you all will be ready to empty your cup and learn. Okay. So yeah, this is a quick check. Like, how many of you have this on your phone? Like, this is my morning alarm to say that it's 6:30 and I have to wake up. So how many of you have this alarm to say wake up time? So you can either raise your hands or you can put it in the chat also. So do you people have an alarm to say? Yeah, okay. Anyone else? You people don't have an alarm to wake up? Chat. Yes. Okay. Okay. To do. Okay. Okay. That's good. Okay. So I'm hoping that you will have some, at least more than 50% of you will have an alarm to say it's time to wake up. Or at least you will, though you may not use the alarm, but you will at least have an alarm, right? Okay. So my next question to you is, okay, so how many of you have this on phone? An alarm to say that it's time to. So does anyone have this? Okay, Padma, you said me. So is your answer like me for morning alarm or night alarm, Padma? Okay, never, never, no. Anas says no, Prachit. I kept for slept mode. Okay, that's good, Padma. Okay, so at least I'm assuming that most of or majority people will have an alarm to say it's time to wake up, but not many people. I mean, I see Padma is an exception, so that's really good. That's really good, Padma, that you have an alarm to say it's time to. So by the end of this session, I hope to convince you people to say that it's you put an alarm to say it's time to sleep, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so I'll just first start with one thing called as the first topic is called sleep drive. So, okay, so I'll just take my example. Today morning, I think I woke up around 6 a.m. Around 6 a.m. Okay, so around 6 a.m. So this is exactly where I start at 6 a.m. So the small blue line, right? So this is so if someone asks me to sleep at 6 a.m., right? It's going to be very difficult because I just woke up. But then now the time is almost 6 p.m., right? So slowly I'm moving towards here, right? So now if at night 9:30, if you ask me to sleep, I may be somewhere here. But if at 10:30, if you ask me to sleep, so I will automatically sleep because I am very close to the sleepiness threshold, right? The minute I sleep, right, what happens is the sleep drive. So this actually is called your sleep drive, and the more time you are awake, right, the more time you are awake, the sleep drive builds, and the more time you are sleeping, the sleep drive reduces. So this is simple common sense, right? Okay, so okay, let's quickly talk about there are actually in our nervous system there are something called as sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous. So let's quickly talk about this. So what is sympathetic nervous system is, let's say, like for example, we talked about when you have an alarm to wake up and then within 15 minutes you have to get ready, right? So what you will be doing is you will be actually activating something called as a fight or flight response. Okay, so which will do something like increase your heartbeat, it will mobilize your fat reserves into, and does a lot of things, right? And basically it releases something called as adrenaline. So that is exactly what will do, which will do the fight or flight response. But there is something opposite called as parasympathetic nerve. Let's say like today is Sunday, okay? So you don't need to wake up, you don't need to go to school, I mean your college, office, whatever, right? So then you can be relaxed, right? So here what happens is, instead of activating your the sympathetic nervous system, we activate something called as a rest or digest response. So in typically in the rest or digest response, what happens is food gets digested, then whatever damage that has happened because of the sympathetic nervous system, new cells gets generated. Okay, so what do you think should be the ideal ratio of the time spent in the sympathetic versus parasympathetic? Anyone can answer in chat, or you can unmute also. I am hoping that people can unmute. So if you think there are 24 hours in a day, right? So how much time should people spend in sympathetic and how much time in parasympathetic? Any guesses? No? Okay, I'll give the answer. It should be as close to 50-50, right? The time spent in sympathetic versus parasympathetic is as close to 50-50. Okay, so yeah, we'll connect all the dots later. So first is the sleep drive, and then there's the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. Then we'll quickly talk about the stages of sleep. Okay, so if you really see the stages of sleep, right, many books and all, what they will basically say is NREM sleep, which is called as a non-rapid eye movement sleep, and the REM sleep, which is called as a rapid eye movement. So I just gave one simple, it's an analogy that I have created. So let's say I'll just name this character as Harish just for fun. On a weekend, his habit is hill climbing. Okay, so what he does is he starts climbing the hill. Okay, but then he realizes that he forgot his bottle after 5 minutes. So he turns back to get his bottle. Right, then he starts climbing the hill. So assume here at this stage, if he forgets something and he has to go down the hill, it will be a lot of effort. But here in the second diagram, if you see, here it will be easy for him, right? But then let's say like if it is like almost like 45 minutes to 1 hour he spends, right? So he's almost close to the top of the hill. Now if you ask him to go and get something, right, it will be even more difficult because he needs to. So I'm actually talking about the fifth picture. It will become even more difficult. In the second picture, if you ask him to turn back, it's easy. In the fifth picture, if you ask him to turn back, it's going to be very difficult. I mean, see, like if you can see, like second picture, turning back is easy. Third picture, even difficult. And then fourth picture is like even more difficult. So this is exactly what happens when you are asleep. So let's say, for example, at 10:30, I am sleeping, right? 10:40, 10:45-ish kind of a thing, right? If you wake me up, I mean, for example, a power cut happens or someone rings the bell, right? So it will be relatively easy for me to just get up from but maybe like 11:15, 11:30 or something like that, 45 minutes to 1 hour close to it happens, right? It will become very difficult. So smaller sounds will not be able to wake. But then if it is like 11:45, 12, right? So almost 1.5, 1 hour, 15 minutes and all, right? It will become even more difficult because like so much sound has to come, so much disturbance has to come, and only then I'll be able to wake, right? So I hope you understood the first stage, which is called as a non-rapid eye movement. Okay, so now we are going up the hill, which is called as a non-rapid eye movement. Non-rapid eye movement. It's not okay. Next comes the fun part. So I think all of you will agree, like going up the hill is going to be like lot of strain and lot of effort, but going down the hill is fun, right? So going up the hill is non-REM and going down the hill is REM. So what happens in the REM phase is you start dreaming. You get lot of your mind starts playing movie. Like some kind of strange things happen, and it is literally kind of a movie that happens, right? So this is actually what happens while we are in the stages of. So when we are going down the hill is REM, and when we are going up the hill is non. So yeah, now I'll be connecting the dots. Okay, so let's okay, so because we initially Anas also talked about like my struggle with sleep, right? So I'll quickly go to this part. Okay, this is the first slide I showed, right? So what should happen, right? As the day progresses, your sleep drive has to go in this blue line direction. It has to increase. But what happens is when there is a danger. Let's say, for example, there is a deadline that I have to solve. There is a project last submission date I have to do, right? So because tomorrow is the only thing that has to be there, so I will not be going in this blue line, and instead actually I'll be going in this orange line. Okay, so my sleep drive will start getting reduced. So instead of going in the rest, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, so parasympathetic, I'll be activating my sympathetic nervous system. So that is what happens when. So why I was struggling with sleep. So when I was in 2019, because of the challenges that I was facing, right, I wanted to solve this problem ASAP, right? So because of that, actually, I was activating my orange line. So I'll talk about what are the things that you need to do to go down this orange line. Okay. first thing, mostly, okay, it's not a universal thing, but mostly if you have a habit of drinking coffee late at in the evening or late in the night, so this will actually not allow you to go in the blue line, and instead it will push you towards the orange line, which is reduction of your sleep drive. The next one is alcohol, and the third thing is heavy dinner. So, and of course, this is the, if you see this, this is all packaged food that is there, that's all over the place, right? So this will also not allow you to have a deep, I mean, and then the biggest one is, like I was talking about in my case, a feeling of anger. So, an anger because I was not able to solve the thing that I wanted to do. So, I was not able to complete the work that I was able to do. Or it could be literally be anger, right? So whenever you go down this path, right, what will happen is you will so I was talking about this slide, so you will walk down the orange line, which is your sleep drive will reduce actually, okay? And then yeah, the other one where what happens is news channels, whenever you spend time watching news, or the biggest culprit is screen. So whenever we spend time watching screen, right, what will happen is it will actually excite our brain. So when our brain gets excited, right, so it will not walk the path of the blue, and instead it will walk down the path of the orange. So this is what actually I wanted to talk about. Okay. So we'll again talk about what can you do to go to the blue line. Okay. The first and foremost, very important thing is the minute you wake up, right, you have to expose yourself to sunlight, broad sunlight. So like for example, now if you ask me, like if it's a rainy season or if it's winter, like what can I do when there is no sun, right? Even if you just expose yourself to outside atmosphere, right? So the outside atmosphere wherein it has a lot of luminosity. So the tube lights and all will have some in luminosity something called as 100x, whereas a sun's natural light itself has more than I don't remember, but more than 10x power something. Okay, so that is the first thing you need to do is expose yourself to sunlight. Okay, the second thing is yeah, of course, this is a bit of a challenge wherein, if possible, if you can expose yourself to dim light, that will help. And then the other thing, because we talked about heavy dinner, right? Late dinner. So the opposite of it is obviously early dinner, when you eat your dinner way early. So what will happen is your digestion gets completed. And once your digestion gets completed, then it will help you sleep much better. In fact, if you go by the Ayurveda, what Ayurveda suggests is you should have dinner when it is sun is there, right? So sun is equated to fire in the body. So when sun is there, you will be able to digest your food much better. And like Anas mentioned, the practice of meditation. So practice of meditation will basically, what basically did it to me is, yeah, I what happens is, as per science, 50,000 to 60,000 thoughts are generated by a human mind. And what happens is, either we live in the past or in the future. We never live in the present moment, right here, right. So I'm no exception. So I also go this way, that way, keep going. But what meditation is actually doing is, it's actually bringing us to the present moment, right here, right now. Right. So what this will do is, it will actually give your brain a signal that there is no danger, because if you are living in the present moment, you will get into that state where there is no danger, and that will help you sleep. The other thing that definitely helps is practice of gratitude. So if you end the day with a feeling of gratitude, so you could be thankful for every very small things in life. So for example, right now you're able to watch this video, or you're able to have a phone because of which you are able to attend, you are able to talk with your loved ones. So Einstein said this very beautifully. What he said is, you can live your life in two ways: thinking everything is a miracle, or thinking nothing is a miracle. So the choice is definitely on us, like what we choose as a miracle. And then the biggest one is having consistent sleep time. So it shouldn't be a case wherein you are sleeping on the weekdays at maybe like 11. I mean, sleep timings in the sense, not only sleeping time when you go to sleep, but also wake up time. So it shouldn't be a case like on weekdays you are getting up at 6, but on the weekends you are getting up at 9, 10. I have seen people do that. In fact, I used to also do that. And I'm not saying that I was never a culprit of that. So what will happen is your body basically will start getting confused. Okay, when is the time to sleep? When is the time to wake up? It will start getting confused, and our body clock will not give the proper chemicals and all. Okay. So yeah, so I'll actually quickly sum up with so I want to share one principle which is called as Pareto's principle. And what Pareto did in the early 1900s, what he observed was 80% of wealth was there with 20% of people, and 20% of wealth was divided in the rest 80% of. So the simple science here is the 20% of people that are there are having the 80% of wealth, right? So also when it comes to sleep or with anything, you have to identify the 20% that gives you the maximum result of the 80%. So when it comes to that, I have created this simple logic called as I think something's missing over here. Okay, so anyways, so it's called ABC. A is appreciate the time spent in sleep. B is establish boundaries for sleep, and C is consistent sleep timings. I already talked about. So A is appreciating the time spent in sleep, B is the boundaries, and C is the consistent sleep timing. So I just want to talk about, yeah, I think we talked about a lot of things. We talked about what are the things that you should avoid, what are the things that you should take, and all those things. Okay, so I just want to simplify this process. Okay, so what I'll really suggest, if anyone who is listening to this right now or watching this as a recording, right? So if you really want to start something, right, start with something which is very small and very easy for you to so it could be like gratitude is something easy for you to implement, then definitely go for it. So start the thing which is easiest, and then the most important thing is persist. So on persistence, actually I just want to share one story. This is a story of Picasso. So Pablo Picasso was one of the brilliant painter, and what he was doing is in the early 1900s itself, he was visiting New York. So seeing some brushes in his hand, like lady was like said like, okay, please can you draw something for me, right? Then Pablo Picasso like took a canvas, and he did that art in just less than 30 seconds, and then he demanded a huge sum of money. So like this lady was wondering, just 30 seconds and he's demanding this kind of a money, it makes no sense, right? So the lady like wants to really question, like, is it really that worth? So she goes to an auctioneer. So auctioneer basically is like a person who is selling art and all those things. She goes to an auctioneer and asks like, how much is this worth? So the auctioneer also says like, immediately recognizes that it is the work of Picasso, and he says like it's a very huge money, right? So Picasso, then this lady thinks that just you spent 30 seconds and you're able to earn this money, you are freaking lucky, man. How can you do this? Then Picasso says the suspense. He says that you only see the 30 seconds of effort that I'm putting, but 30 seconds of effort right now I'm putting, but over the get this stage, right? I've spent the last 30 years doing this practice day in day out, only because I have put that 30 years of effort every day. That is why I'm able to do this in the last in just 30 seconds. So nothing actually comes for free. So you have to persist with something, and that is how you will be able to get it. Okay. So as I've shared in my introduction also, so I have a book called My Sleepless Nights, which is definitely available on Amazon. You can search my book called My Sleepless Nights, and you'll definitely get it. But if you really think you want an autograph book from me for like, then you can yeah, you can take a screenshot. So okay, so this is not my email address. Okay, I'll type it in the chat. Sorry. This is okay. So you can send a mail to this email address, manohar@manohargrandhi.com, and then you can definitely get it at a discounted price. Okay, a discounted price from Amazon. Okay, and let me do that wiki here itself. And of course, I'll be also sending you an autograph book, and do mention this subject as an autograph. Yeah, just to make sure that this is no, you're not going to get this book for free. So the price of this book is 149 if you buy it on Amazon. Plus Amazon ships it for with the 50 rupees of charges. So you can get it at 149 itself. So the shipping price I'll be able to adjust it. So yeah, do mention this book. The subject is autograph book. Okay. So just want to yeah, quickly cover few things. These are some frequently asked questions for me, so that's why I want to quickly cover this before I help you answer any of this question. So yeah, so the first question is like many people ask me like, how do I make the best use of presentation or this workshop or whatever you want to call this, right? So I think you learned quite a lot of things, right? So, like I talked about, just pick something which is the easiest for you to implement. So, if it could be putting an alarm, that's the easiest. Definitely do that. So, if gratitude is the easiest, definitely do that. If you think, okay, not only in that part, if you think you want to go down the other path where you want to stop doing something, so pick something which is easiest to do and start doing that. Okay, that is one thing. And then the second thing people ask me is, like nowadays there are something called as sleep trackers, so wherein you wear your tracker on your hand and it measures your sleep and it gives you some kind of data. So then it says whether if it says that my sleep is bad, how do I fix it? Okay, so the first thing I'll say is any tracking device is not 100% accurate. Okay, don't just blindly go on the sleeping device saying like it's giving me some data, right? So just first thing you have to ask is when you have woken up, what is your body telling you? Is your body saying, is your body feeling groggy or your body is feeling energetic? If your body is feeling groggy, it means that you haven't slept well. So you need to fix it by either if you can go sleep again, that will also help, or you can also have a afternoon nap if that helps. Okay, so that is the accurate way. So ask your body, not a sleep tracking. Okay, so yeah, if you have any other questions also, right? So do send a mail to this email address. So I also put that in the chat, manohar@manohargrandhi.com. Okay, so yeah, I like to thank you people for giving me another opportunity, and then I like to open for questions. So any questions you people have, you can ask. Okay. So I see some question. Okay, how does screen time before affect sleep pattern? Okay, yeah, that's a very good question, Padma. You've asked. I hope I'm pronouncing you correct. You're correctly because I see Padma Chunzin. Okay, Padma, like, how does screen time basically act is when screen times basically every screen, okay, what it basically does is it gives you something called as dopamine. Okay, so some happy chemicals, right? So because of these happy chemicals, right, what happens is let me quickly share the screen once again. Okay, and then go to the slide. Second, my battery is running out. Just give me a minute. Okay, plug my charger. Okay, okay. So here we go. Yeah. So what happens, Padma, is like I talked about, right? Whenever time of night has to happen, right? Your sleep drive has to increase. Okay, it's ideal pattern. Okay, what happens is what screens basically do is screens also emit something called as blue light, and instead of giving you the light, giving you that night which becomes darker, right? Screens will give the brain trick the brain to say that it's daytime. That is first thing. Okay, that is the first thing that happens. The second thing that happens is sleeps, and then what screens give is they give us pleasure. Okay, when you laugh, when you are doing something, right, it is giving us pleasure. And what pleasure when it's doing is it's basically activating that sympathetic nervous, right? So you will actually so when there is light, right, so your sleep drive will not go in this blue line and instead it will go in this orange line. Okay, so this is the biggest problem with screen. So I hope I was able to answer. Yeah, thank you, Jan. Any more questions?
Okay, on behalf of organizing committee, I would like to sincerely thank Mr. Manohar, our remarkable speaker today. We had the opportunity to hear an insightful and heartfelt session on sleep, the foundation of success. Through his personal journey and expertise, Mr. Manohar showed up how sleep impacts every part of our lives, and why making it a priority is essential for us for our health, productivity, and happiness. His words have motivated us to reflect on our habit and take better care of our well-being. The key takeaway from this session is quality sleep isn't optional. It's a critical pillar of success. By understanding our pattern, managing stress, and practicing mindfulness, we can all improve our sleep and in turn transform our personal and professional lives. Thank you once again for joining today's webinar. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach us by phone or email. We are happy to help.